All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about a single, absolutely pivotal week back in August 2025. A week that honestly felt like it hit the fast-forward button on the entire AI industry. It was an acceleration like nothing we'd ever seen before.
So I've got a question for you. What if the entire future of AI was decided in just 1 week? I know, it sounds like crazy talk, right? But for a moment there, that's exactly what it felt like. This wasn't just a bunch of companies dropping new products. No, this was a high-stakes strategic battle, a chess match for the future of artificial intelligence. Let's break down exactly how it all went down. So first up to the plate, OpenAI. They made this massive, really calculated move, a jump back into the world of open source. And believe me, this was a true gambit, a strategic play designed to completely redraw the map. They didn't just release one model. They dropped two incredibly powerful open-weight models, GPT-OSS 120B and 20B. Now, the real magic here is the architecture. They both use what's called a mixture of experts, or MOE design. And what that means, in simple terms, is that they're super efficient. They only fire up a small fraction of their brain, so to speak, for any given task. This makes them shockingly powerful for their size. I mean, think about it. The big one can run on a single high-end GPU, and the smaller one, you can run it on a good laptop. That is a massive game changer for accessibility. So what was the big idea here? What was the strategy? Well, this quote from Sam Altman really lays it all out. The goal is to get the entire world building on their OpenAI stack, one that's made in the US and, importantly, based on democratic values. By using the super permissive Apache 2.0 license, they're basically inviting everyone to build on their foundation. It's a play to create the default ecosystem. And yeah, it's also a powerful move against their geopolitical rivals. And for any business watching, this is where it gets really interesting. This number, 91%, that is the potential cost savings for inference, the cost of actually running the model, compared to using the big proprietary APIs. This isn't just a little discount. This is a radical cost demolition. It suddenly makes all these complex, multi-step AI agent workflows actually affordable for the first time. But, the reception, it wasn't all a standing ovation. And this created a really fascinating disconnect. On the one hand, you had these stellar benchmarks. On paper, it looked amazing, nearly as good as the top closed models. But on the other hand, developers started reporting that it was, a bit over-censored and surprisingly bad at general knowledge or creative writing. So the big takeaway was pretty clear. These models were absolute beasts for certain agentic tasks, for reasoning, but they weren't the general all-purpose tools a lot of people were hoping for. Okay, next up, Anthropic. Now, while OpenAI was going broad, trying to capture the whole field, Anthropic went deep. They executed a brilliant strategic defense of their most valuable piece of turf, their title as the king of AI for coding. Their big move was releasing Claude Opus 4.1. And if you look at the numbers here on this benchmark, the improvement seems pretty small, right? Just a couple of percentage points. But in this incredibly competitive space, that tiny leap was everything. It was just enough for them to hop over their rivals and snatch back the crown as the best AI coding model out there. And then they dropped this quote. And honestly, this is just a masterclass in strategic communication. By saying they plan to release substantially larger improvements in the coming weeks, they pulled off two things at once. First, they managed everyone's expectations for the 4.1 update. But second, and this is the clever part, they reassured all their big customers that a much bigger answer to competitors like GPT-5 was already on the way. It's like saying, don't worry, this is just the appetizer. The main course is coming. Now, let's talk about Google, because they played a completely different game. Their announcement wasn't just another video generator. No, this was a peek behind the curtain at a fundamentally different, much longer-term strategy for getting to AGI. They showed off Genie 3, and the jump from the previous version is just immense. And look, it's not about the resolution getting better. It's a complete shift in what it is. We went from just generating a video clip to interactive world simulation. You can navigate these worlds in real time, and they have memory.
This isn't just an upgrade, it's a whole new paradigm.
So why is this so important? I mean, who cares? Well, this quote about stairs, this gets to the absolute core of it. The real point of Genie 3 isn't to make cool little games for us to play. It's to generate a nearly infinite amount of varied training data for AI agents. Just imagine trying to teach a robot how to walk upstairs. With this, you can show it billions of examples: thin stairs, icy stairs, spiral stairs, stairs crowded with people, all from the safety of a simulation. This is Google's massive bet on how to solve the data problem for building real, embodied AI.
Okay, so wow. We've seen 3 huge, very different moves from the 3 biggest players in the game. So let's take a step back and put all the pieces together. Let's look at the new AI landscape that was carved out in just that 1 week. What we're seeing now is a really clear 3-layer AI stack. It all starts at the bottom with the foundation models. These are the raw intelligence engines like GPT-OS or Claude. Then that intelligence gets harnessed by the second layer, the generative models. These are the specialists that create things, whether it's music or entire interactive worlds like Genie 3. And then finally, at the very top, you have the agentic applications. These are the platforms that orchestrate all that power to automate real-world business tasks. And this right here, this lays out the strategic chessboard perfectly. You've got OpenAI making a huge bet on platform dominance through open source. You've got Anthropic digging a deep moat around its niche in enterprise coding. And then you have Google playing the really long game, betting that its deep research into these world models is what will ultimately win the race. 3 different labs, 3 completely distinct bets on the future, and each one has its own massive potential and its own critical weakness.
Which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? We have 3 labs on 3 totally different paths. You've got platform dominance, you've got niche defense, and you've got long-term world simulation. So which of these strategies do you think will be the one to define our future with AI?